Folks, welcome back to Maypole Farm, and it is now October 1, and we have multiple options of things we can do. The money has gone up, as Mr. CDP would say, because I sold a bunch of the slurry out of cowshed number one in front of us, because it was pretty much full. So we did a few runs up to the animal dealer to sell that. We have sold a few trailer loads of milk as well. We have a few more calves as well. A little dude or dudette. Dude. I'm not checking. The cows are quite low on food, which is why I've got it on ×1 time, because I don't want to feed them right now. We are going to do the sugar beet harvest. Because the sugar beet is ready, we could do grass work, we could do grass fertilizing, but I'm going to do the sugar beet harvest. Not sure what we're going to use to harvest the sugar beet just yet. That's fuel capacity. Okay, so we've got this guy, or this guy. I did have a look at installing some mods, but harvest, scrub the ground. So that looks like, so that 6,500 litres. It's 280. We don't have 280 horsepower, so we are going to need to lease a self-propelled one. Am I not seeing a work? I quite like the look of that. I don't think I've used this guy. So it's 26 grand to lease it. Wow. Wow. Okay. That hurt. We don't need the tractor, actually. We need the truck. Mark you. Jump in you. That should be in the correct configuration. That hurt. That hurt. Now, I'm hoping this doesn't take too long. But we'll see, I guess. And I'm hoping we get a decent amount off of here. Have we just spent 26 grand getting the harvester in? Yeah, I don't think I've ever used this guy, so... What's the price of sugar beet like at the moment? Not bad. If we'd waited a month, we could have sold it straight off the field, but I'm a dummy, and we've just paid to lease the harvester, so, you know, there's that. So we'll unfold the harvester when we get to the field, just in case. Maybe we store it and sell it next game day for an extra £20 per 1,000 litres. How much do we think we're going to get off of the field? get an extra 6 grand. We wait, potentially. I think that's worth doing. So, unfold. That could be interesting. Not digging the sugar beet. Going cab for a little bit. So yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to wait because we could, 6 grand or 6 grand. If we can get a better price, we should get a better price at that kind of rate. Be silly not to. So what I'm actually thinking is maybe we dip it in the field. And the other thing that I'm thinking is I'm just going to clear another row along the bottom here. Give myself a bit more room to work. Don't like reversing. Don't like reversing. But yeah, I think that'll help. Better if I'd taken it out of work mode, but yeah, so maybe we'll tip it. Where could we tip it? Because I'd like to turn this field. We could tip it in the yard. We don't have a huge amount of space to tip it in the yard, but do that. That would work. Actually, quite topical is maybe not the right word. I'm not sure what the right word is, but there's a UK farmer that I see pop up quite a lot on social media. This is not going to be annoying. We're going to need to go around the field the other way. And I do... That's a 180 cat. Yeah. He grows a variety of crops, and typically he's commenting on the fact that most crop buyers don't want to pay good value for his crops. I kind of feel for the guy. And he's tried various ways of selling direct to consumers. And I think he did some stuff selling grain direct to consumers. I think because of the pretty awful weather we've had in the UK this year, I don't remember what grain it was. Not going to shock you, is it? He had a bunch of grain that was essentially feed grade grain. So it was going for, he was going to get paid a pittance for it. I think he was essentially losing money on it. So he took to social media with however many tons of it he had left on the farm, in the grain shed, offering to sell it to people in however many kilo bags it was. I don't know how successful he was because I didn't see any follow-up on it, but he's doing the same with sugar beet, because British Sugar are paying a pittance for sugar beet. So if you didn't know, and probably most of you watching do in the UK, if you buy British sugar, it's made from sugar beet, I think, predominantly. and he's been experimenting with making his own sugar from sugar beet, and you can buy sugar beet off him if you want to try and make your own sugar. I think it's not a thing you normally see sold in the UK, sugar beet. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I saw a couple of clips of him talking about sugar beet. One was where he had his own raw, sort of brown raw sugar that he'd made. I have not cleared as much land as I had hoped, so we are going to have to load the truck. And the other one was him talking about starting to process it. I didn't watch all of that clip, but yeah. Kind of relevant, I guess, with us doing our sugar beet harvest at this point. And I think the thing for me that I find slightly sad is, and we might lose a bit of crop doing this, although I think I might have crop destruction turned off, so it might be okay, is that farmers work really hard to grow crops, and then big industry just do not want to pay them value for it, and part of that is our fault as consumers, because we don't want to pay what things cost to produce them. In the vast majority, and times are tough, right, for everyone. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and bankrupt yourself buying expensive things. Buying food is expensive. Just food shopping this morning, it's really expensive. I actually thought it was going to be quite a cheap shop because I didn't think I picked up that much, but it was really expensive. The minced beef that I buy, certainly maybe 3 years ago, might be more, was like £1.89 for 500 grams. It's now £3.40 for 500 grams. That's insane inflation. That's not inflation now, and I doubt most of that is not going to the farmer. I'm pretty sure. Some of it might be because the cost of raising animals has maybe gone up, but I'm sure a lot of that is not increased cost of farming. Yeah, I've kind of lost my thread there, but I think in general, farmers are not well compensated for the things they grow. And I'm not saying all farmers are poor. I'm not saying all farmers are rich. Not going to comment on that, but when you hear farmers talking about how much it costs them to grow a crop with all the things that go into it, and then how much they're paid per hectare or per ton or whatever, usually per ton, and if they get a bad yield, then they're screwed. Lama VF was talking about his dad's farming experience, and they basically had a bad harvest, and it ruined their farm. And with how the weather is so variable now, and I know it's January in the UK, but I don't remember a day when the ground was dry at the moment. Equally, in the summer, we had really long periods where it was very dry. So, yeah. But yeah, not everyone has the means to support local farming at all. And you certainly shouldn't stretch yourself to do that. But I think if you can, it's good. At various points, I have. When I used to live in Bristol, I used to go to a local abattoir to buy all of our meat. Some of the best meat that I've had. I've spoken about, we used for a while, we used to get our milk from a local dairy, a local farm that had a milk vending machine. Not done that in a little while. Could tip it on the grass field, because although I want to fertilize that grass field. We could tip it next to the potatoes. Being this is going to be a gigantic pile. Do that. I think we're going to have to lease a belt system for reloading this. That's fairly cheap, so that's not too much of a problem. And people always ask what you'd like to see in FS in the future. I'd kind of like it if things weren't... I know this is a performance thing. It'd be really nice if things weren't just a 2D texture. Because it looks really crap sometimes. It really does. But I get why they do it. But it looks crap. It really does sometimes. So we are about 10% of the way through the field. So that could take a while. Bigger trailer might help, or a trailer behind the truck might help. Means more cost. So, which is never good. Not when we've laid out so much on getting the harvester in. I got confused when we started between this and Kinlag as to whether I had a trailer. I haven't played on Kinlag in a while. That way the suspension moves around. I've been spending far too much time playing the Beaver game when I've not been doing this sort of stuff. Fun playing the Beaver game. Up we go. Awesome. Okay, so we can't tip that there. So we'll tip it there. Okay, that's that emptied completely. So the truck's got a little bit in it, which is not necessarily brilliant. And we progress. Yeah. I should probably set up GPS. 5 headlands going to be enough. It should be. It should be. We might have a bit of an issue with the fact that the first headland was done manually by an idiot. But we'll see how we get on with that. Yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. So it might be okay. Yeah, so we need to get this field cleared, and then we will have lots of sugar beet to sell, which is going to be quite nice. Those 300,000 litres at like 350,000 pounds per 1,000 litres is quite a lot of money. Was it 350,000 litres? Let's say 300,000 litres. That's going to be 100 grand, which is quite nice. So that's a third of our debt. So I'm going to sell it. Yes, we could put in the cow feed, but we've got the potatoes. If we run out, we run out. Maybe we keep a little bit. Yeah, let's keep a little bit because we've got the carrots coming as well. So we'll get to sell those, which will give us a bunch of money. Yeah, maybe we'll keep a little bit. We'll keep a little bit. Okay, you convinced me. You've convinced me. We'll keep a little bit of sugar beet back. And we should maybe look at doing some home brewed sugar, maybe. But probably the production would be so inefficient that I doubt it's worth it. Maybe we could dry the sugar in the grain dryer. Sugar's grain, right? Why can't I put sugar beet in the grain dryer, Cartec? Shift P, that's the jobby. They're a small sugar factory. I guess there's probably dryer, small sugar mill. £36,000. I wonder how productive it is. Probably not very at all, because none of the giant ones are that profitable. It probably takes like 10 years to make back that money. So. And I must not be feeling well if I'm thinking about a production. I am very sleep deprived. I'm very sleep deprived. And overworked this week. Sleep's been mental. I've done 3 days in the office this week with driving in every day, which is exhausting. Because it means getting up at 5 every morning. And the day I didn't get up and go into the office, I was in Teams meetings all day, which was equally exhausting. Because, and if you don't do an office job, let's just say an office job. I was going to say the kind of job that I do, but not many people do the kind of job that I do. If you don't do an office job, you're probably sat there going, well, you're just sat on a computer. That can't be that tiring. Because I do real work, whatever that real work is. And you're right, you do real work, whatever that real work is. But using your brain can actually be quite tiring. And the meetings that I was in actually required me to use my brain and concentrate and contribute and deal with technically complex things. Because my job requires me to deal with technically complex things. So, and sometimes awkward people. So yeah. That was an thing. That was an thing. By the time I'd finished, I was pretty darn tired. That's a hedge. Over the days when Cavs maps had soft hedges. Not that we would ever cheat and drive through the hedges. That would be wrong. That would be wrong. I was looking back at Steam. and hours played on games on Steam, because I was watching someone play Timberborn and they were saying about how many hours they played on Timberborn. They did a lot more hours than I had. But I was looking at FS19 because FS19 was the last FS that I had only on Steam. And I got into FS19 quite late. It was during that little global cold. I'm saying cold. I'm not dismissing it. I don't know if YouTube is still sensitive about that word. And so when I got FS19, all the good mods were all out and all that kind of thing. It was brilliant. I played like 2,200 hours on that game. And I kind of missed that, knowing, because since then I've had all my versions of FS on Giants. And I miss knowing how many hours I've played of the game. And I remember when I first got it, one of the suggestions was, we'll just add up all the hours in your save games. And that just doesn't work, because I don't keep all my save games, because you can only have 20 save games. So yeah, it'd be really nice if, and you know, if I play across multiple computers, it would be really difficult tracking it, but it'd be really nice if Giants added hours played tracking, and like wrote it into the game settings file or something. Gonna miss part of that. Or someone made a mod for it, I guess, but then you'd have to have the mod installed in every single save. And we'd need it from the start of the game. Clever script modders. The start of FS20X. Write me a script mod that logs hours played, please. I actually ask some of the clever script modders I know if they can do that. Because the game logs your session playtime. I wonder if you could do that with a mod. I bet you could. I bet if you were a clever script modder, and I'm trying to bait the fact that I know some of them watch, but if you were a clever enough script modder, you'd be able to do that, and it'd be really easy to do right at the start of a new game release. If you were a clever enough script modder. I don't know if I know any script modders that are clever enough to do that. Now, unfortunately, the clever script modders that I know are far too clever to fall for me trying to bait them with simple tactics like that, but it'd be really cool to have a mod that you could just drop in your mods folder, and every time you are playing, at least, rather than having the game open, it updated a total of your play session to a file. Completely trivial thing that's just jumped into my brain. But so I think now we could start storing the sugar beet along the side of the field, which will speed the process up, because the process is slow. It is a process, but it is slow. If we take a look at the map, we have done an insignificant amount of the field so far. What we do need to do, because one will forget, is, and I know it's really not very professional to do this, but hey, I mean, don't forget. So, but yeah, I'm going to get some more of this done, and I'll be back. Hey folks, we are somewhat of a way through. I have time-lapsed some of that. I am curious, do you enjoy time-lapses? I never used to put them in videos because I typically will skip them unless it's a song I really like. But I've started reintroducing them sometimes into videos. So I think they work better in the Beaver game because you see something different happening. In the farming game, you're seeing repetition of a process that you guys all know. So I'm not always a massive fan of them, to be honest, and quite often I will skip them. So do you enjoy a time-lapse in a farm game video? Yeah, curious. Let me know what you think. I'm probably not going to get this finished in this video because time has gotten away from me, essentially. This took longer than I thought, partly because I'm used to harvesting with a Thor-based harvester, which is way quicker because that's how I did all of the beet harvesting on Kinlac. But on here, I'm trying to play a little bit more true to things. So I need to probably give the cows some food because they're not in the best place, and then get this job finished. So we can either, and you can decide, carry on doing this next time, or I can finish it between videos because there's a little bit of time between them. So let me know whether you would rather I finish this up or you join me as we finish this up. We've got quite a pile of sugar beets already. I'm debating, apart from it's more cost, but just because it might be fun, and you know, we're playing a video game, it can be fun, using a wheel loader to load these up to sell them. But we'll see. We'll see. So far, we've got 225,000 litres off of this field. I don't believe that number. I don't know what they base that off of. I guess we could work it out, couldn't we? So 38,520 divided by 223. They base it off a price of £172 per 1,000 litres, which is not what we can get. But yeah, I think... Oh, no. Yeah, it can go there. We'll turn that into a contiguous pile with our next load. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. Because it's going to take me another, I don't know, while to get this finished. And I should go feed the cows before the next hour of game time ticks over. So, I will see you all next time, folks. And you can let me know what we do. Thank you to patrons and the YouTube channel members. You guys are awesome. And I'll see you next time for either more sugar beet harvesting or we have grass work to do or we have grass fertilizing to do.